I'm Andy Schmuckler, a man on a mission. Today's topic, or this video's topic, has little to do with the mission that I'm on, but just thinking about things. Why is porn different from other narrative forms, I ask? And in particular, with respect to the uh, issue of wish fulfillment. Uh, I come from a family culture on my mother's side of storytellers, which I think feeds into one thing that I've mentioned frequently because old movies are important to me. Movies in general are important to me. They people my head, and because I like to follow a story being told, and it's meaningful to me. And it's one of the refuges I have these days, living in a world that's so far out of joint, so different from what I yearn for it to be like with people like Trump and Putin and Netanyahu having such a big impact on what I see when I look around the world. I like to escape into other worlds that are there for, I'm watching Hamlet, which is trouble. Things were rotten in the state of Denmark and the time was out of joint then. But it's not the world I'm living in. And other films that I've mentioned along the line. So I think a lot about stories and the structures uh, of stories. And one question that arose in my mind lately was why is it that we end the story with and they lived happily ever after. But when they start the story with Once Upon a Time, the story inevitably unfolds into various forms of unmet needs. There are tensions and dissatisfactions and things pursued but not yet had, and things suffered and not yet avenged, and all that kind of stuff. Why is it that we don't indulge ourselves in really pure stories of wish fulfillment? So, what is it we all wish for? Well, we wish, I suppose, that we lived in a world where, and then you get, you know, the people, what we're supposed to envision when they say happily ever after. Um, we're not interested in going straight to happily ever after and watching a happily married, successful family. They're raising children to live prosperous, good, fulfilling lives. And they're surrounded by beauty and, oh golly, all the things that, well, I've striven for in my life. And I expect there's a similar set in everybody's life of what they're striving for, or what happily ever after would be for them. We'd be bored. Now, okay, so we need a story needs conflict, or as they say, drama needs conflict. But that basically goes for it. We want problems to be solved. We want a narrative that makes us want something, but have to wait for a goodly while before we get it. Before the boy gets the girl that he's been pursuing the whole time. Oh golly, at the end of let's say Sleepless in Seattle, they came so close to never meeting. They taunted us so much with, after all this, they're going to miss each other at the top of the Empire State Building. To get to that point, which is such a sweet point in that movie, where and then the two actors they do the same thing in the later movie. You've Got Mail. We've gone through so much difficulty, and then there's all the movies that are about at the beginning, the bad guys do terrible things to the good guys and make us crave the moment where the bad guys are going to get what they deserve. And then, eventually that happens, but it doesn't. We don't start out. We don't start out there. We have a need that gets deferred, and then it gets gratified. And as soon as it's gratified, it's still as soon as life has achieved the state that we believe that we want, where we have no traumatic injury at the hands of somebody else that we're still carrying, needing to strike back. No. But then I wonder, why is it the typical porn video, at least to my acquaintance, is so different? There are rarely any problems that need to be solved. From beginning to end, it's things going according to the wish fulfillment fantasy. And I don't know what the reason for that difference. First of all, I keep on looking to see whether am I not looking at it right when I see a difference between, the ending that comes at the end of the movie where we finally where the beast turns into the handsome prince, or am I misunderstanding what's happening in the porn movies that pretty much grant desire continuously? So if I do characterize that difference correctly, then the question arises, why would that be different? Why is it, for what pleasures are we willing to get vicariously? And the answer, I think there's something different about the porn than, say, if there were a movie in which some other appetite of desire was getting gratified. Like, let's say, what would I like to eat? Well, I wouldn't mind having a gourmet meal served to me in a nice environment with good company. Would I watch a video that was about that? I don't think so. I don't think that watching somebody else eat something delicious would be gratifying. So I'm wondering, is there some way in which sexual desire is gratifying in itself that other desires are not? If we're watching a video of a guy eating one's favorite dish, in my case, it might be paella, delicious paella. Would that give me a sort of mouth-watering gratification? I don't think so, but maybe sexual arousal is different from our desire, for example, to see a couple in a happy marriage, or an interaction between a family that's very Norman Rockwellish. I don't know. People do take aphrodisiacs, but then Romans also did what they could, and people do what they can with an aperitif, and Romans purged. So I'm not sure still why porn operates by pure wish fulfillment, whereas the stories that we want to be told and to be shown in story and movie and such all involve creating needs and leaving them unmet until the end, when we live happily ever after. Don't know what the answer is. Thanks. Bye-bye.